Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the place where you learn new skill every time you visit. So keep updating yourself by subscribing to the channel. So today we're going to discuss the string class and the string buffer class. Okay, so let's see what's a string in Java. Guys, when we talk about variables, suppose I have to store something which belongs to the non-decimal value. Okay, so I have to store a non-decimal value into a variable called a. I used to declare it like this. So as I told you earlier, that when we do this, in the memory location, in the memory, a particular location has been stored for it. So whenever I put the content of it, I suppose I store 5 to it, all right, that 5 goes and gets stored in that memory location. This is all we have discussed. So this is a variable or it's a memory location where something can be stored. But when we talk about strings, and a string is a group of characters. For string, we do not say variable. Strings cannot be stored in variable. They can be stored in using an object. For example, let's see over here. In Java, a string is an object. So we don't call them variable just like we call in other data types. Although variable is a memory location and an object also is a memory location where the content is stored. Okay. So this is an example of a char array where we have broken the word magnitude into different alphabets and store it in the form of a group of characters. Okay, so we can create a string object in two ways, or in layman's language, I can say the memory location to store a word or a sentence or a paragraph, that is strings, in two ways. So the first way is by string literal. So when I use string literal, I declare, I do it like this. So that means here I have created an object. This is an object name, guys. It's not a variable name. Technically, we won't call it variable. Like in the case of int a, I was calling a as a variable. So although that is a variable is also memory location, and here also the memory location will happen and same process is going to happen, but we call it object. Okay, so string is a class and name1 is an object of that. And I'm storing magnitude into it, the word magnitude into it. All right. So as soon as I do this, what's going to happen is into the memory location, the word magnitude will get stored and the name object, the object name is going to point to that particular location. Okay. Now, when we do this declaration, what the Java virtual machine does, it just looks into the memory and looks whether the same word is already there or not. So if the same word is not there already, what it does, it creates, it stores that word into the memory location and the object points to that particular location. Now, what if I'm trying to create another object named to with the same content? Now the JVM is not going to create another memory location to store the same word 2 times. No. What it is going to do, it goes and checks the memory location for that particular existence of that particular word. It goes there. If the word is already existing, it just create an object or the new object which you have just created here, name2, just is going to point to that particular same memory location. So in a layman's language, when you print name1, you will get magnitude. When you print name2, you get magnitude. So for you, it's behaving like a variable. For you, it's like simple thing. You have stored name1 as magnitude, name2 as magnitude, and whenever you need it, you are getting it. But technically, in the memory location, in the memory, it happens this way. All right. I hope this would have understood, and this is very important for you, right? Now, that is the first way we can create a string object, that is using the literal. Now, here's another way to create a string object by using the new keyword. All right. Now, this is the way I can also create a string object, and this is a normal way using which you used to create a object of a class. You remember when you said student obj equals to new student, and then you used to pass the parameter. Okay, so it's similar, like, because string is a class, so this is the object name, new is the operator, and this is the constructor. And now what I'm doing, to that constructor, I'm passing the word magnitude. So what it's going to do, it's just going to store magnitude into this memory location. name1 to that object's memory location. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you, right? Now let's go further and see how we can handle the char array. So suppose we have a char array like this. I can convert this char array into a string. Means I can combine all the characters which are separated and stored separately into a string by using a function which is this way. All right. So if I create a new object name2 and pass this character array to it as a parameter, instead of passing the word which I did here, I'm passing the array. So what it's going to do, it's going to store the whole word online into the object name2. Okay. So when we print name1 plus name2 is going to print magnitude online. Okay. That's simple for you to understand. Now let's move ahead and see what we have next. Now we can also convert right just few minutes before we have converted a char array into a string. Okay, or grouped them into a string magnitude online. We can do the reverse of it also. We can break up a string into a char array. All right, using a special function char to array. All right. So what we have done here is we have declared a char array. Okay, and then we use the function toCharArray along with the object name, which was storing the word magnitude. Okay, and then we have run a loop from 0 till length of that array, this array, and we are printing each member at a time. When I say chi, the first value of I is 0, so it's going to print the first letter. Second value will be 1, it's going to print second letter, and so on. It's going to print all the letters of the word and in a vertical manner because of this /n. Okay, guys. So I think that is easier for you to understand. There's no complication about it. Now we move on to the string buffer class. The second way we can handle the string. We can also handle the string using the string buffer class objects. How do we do that? We can create an object of a string buffer class as I just need to replace the class name string with a string buffer. All rest of the system. So string buffer name, which is object name, new string buffer, the constructor name, and passing the word magnitude. Exactly like the previous case, it's going to store the magnitude into this object's location. So whenever you will access name, you're going to get magnitude. Okay. Now string buffer class or a string class both can handle the char sequences. Okay. The only difference between them is the string class object is immutable, which means it cannot be changed. Now you would have seen this or read this word immutable and mutable, that string object is mutable and string buffer is mutable in many places or read in many books. Now I'll explain you what does that exactly mean. So when we say a string class object is immutable, we mean that you cannot change the content of that string object. Okay, let's see by an example. So suppose I have created an object name equals to magnitude. So as I explained you a few minutes before, what's going to happen in the memory location? The magnitude is going to be stored at a location, and this particular object name is going to point to it. All right. Now what I'll do is I'll use another function, the concat function, and the concat function actually adds or joins the two words. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to add to the name the another word online. So I'm joining the magnitude, which is stored in name, and the word online together using the concat function. All right. And this is a proper function. This works without compilation. But when you will print the when you do this name.concat online, what's going to happen is it's going to create a new instance. It's not going to change in that previous location. It's going to create a new instance, a new memory location where it's going to store the joined word, that is magnitude and online will be stored at this location. So when you have printed or when you are printing the word name, it's going to only print magnitude, not magnitude online. Getting my point? Because string is immutable. You cannot change the string. So for that reason only, it has not changed that location, the content of that location where megatut was stored. It created a new instance. It created a new memory location and then stored the combined word, the concatenated word into it. So when you're printing name where megatut is stored, it's going to give you megatut only. So how will you get that megatut online? How you can access this particular location megatut online, where the megatut online is stored? Simple. If we want to print that, we just have to use the concat function explicitly. Now, when we say explicitly, we just have to use the object one more time before the equal to, like here. If you see here, I have added that particular object name again. Here I was not using name equals to, I was just using name.concat, but here explicitly I am using the object again. So if you do it this way, and now you print the object name, you will get megatut online. Okay, guys? I think this would have cleared the doubt of what does the immutable means, why the strings are immutable, and what does that actually mean. Now let's see about the string buffer class. Now we say that a string buffer class is mutable. Okay, let's see that also by an example. Suppose I have created a memory location on an object named to, all right, and I stored the word or the letter megatut into it. Now what I'm doing over here is I'm going to use the append function of the string buffer class. Now the concat function belongs to the string class, append function belongs to the string buffer class. Since I have created an object from string buffer, so I can use the append here. I cannot use the concat. So name2.append online. So I'm doing this. Both are doing the same thing. It's adding to the name2 another word online. And when you are printing name2, megatut online will be printed. So since the string buffer object is mutable, there's no problem. You can change at the same location. You can add on may change it, add on, or delete, or remove, or insert anything into that memory location of the object. Now, since string and string buffer are two different classes, but used for handling the char array only, now it depends on you, as per the problem requirement, whichever class you use to handle the strings. Okay, both classes have different library functions associated with them. See few functions which belong to each of these classes, right? So, for example, we have a length function which belongs to the string class, and we can use it like this. So, I have declared a variable length belonging to integer, and then call the length function of the string class using the object name1. You remember, name1 is an object, a memory location, but it's called an object. It's a reference type. So, when I print the length, it's going to give me the length of that word, which is stored into the name1 location, which is megatut, and it's going to print 8. Okay. Now, similarly, if I use a string buffer object, I have different functions which I can use there. So if I have append function, which belongs to the string buffer class, I can use it like this. If I say name2.append online and then print name2, I'm going to get the output as megatut online. All right, guys. So, guys, I think there would have been there might be a confusion among few of you when I said that string object, not a variable, because so far till now you would have been, most of you or many of you would have been assuming that string, when I declare string name, that is variable. Okay, when I said object, so what does that actually mean? Let's take an example of a normal class, guys. So in a normal class, this is my class student, and I have variables and I have different functions over here. I have input, I have process, I have output, right? And in the main method, I create an object by student obj1 equals to new student. And then I call these methods using this object. All right, that's understood to you. You have used it many times. Now look at here. Suppose there's a class called string, and it has inside it a function called length, or another function called char at. Okay, this length function is returning int. This function is returning char. And then whenever you want to use it, now since string is a class, using this you can create an object. All right, and or you can also create an object by the same way. String name1 equals to new string. You know that. Okay. So when using this object, you call the length. So you're actually calling the length function, which is ready-made there inside the string class, and then it will do the calculation and sends back you the length, and then which you print it. Right. You need of course, a variable to catch that length or hold that length. When you say int length equals to name.length, so that length will be returned back and get stored here. So this is the concept. That's why we call these as the object of a class, not the variables. Although both the variables or the objects, both are referred to memory location where the content is stored. When I talk about strings, it's an object. It's not a variable. But again, both of them are a variable or an object referred to memory locations only in the RAM where we store the data, whether it is a double or a string. I think now that makes sense to you. Okay. Now, whatever we have learned so far, let's understand it practically. All right. So let's go to Bluetooth and do it. So guys, here's the Bluetooth interface, and I'll just open the class employee, one new class employee, where I'll first show you the practical of the string being immutable example, right? So here I have declared an object of the class string. I store the word megatute into it. And then I'm trying to use a concat function to add the online at the end of megatute. And then I'm printing the name1, all right, which I use to concat. Now I'll try to compile this program and I'll try to show you the result. So here I compile. I'll go to the main screen and run this program. And I go to the terminal window and see. I'll just show it again because there was a previous output also. I'll just run it again. Yeah, so it only shows you megatute. It doesn't show you megatute online because the string is immutable. You cannot change the content of the string as we discussed in the video a few minutes before. Now, if I want to print the new instance, then I have to do this explicitly. And to do it explicitly, I need to put name1 equals to this. All right. And let's see the output now. So I'll go here and run it again. Yeah, now this time it gets the megatute online. So I think now it clears your confusion about mutable and immutable thing. Now, since we know that string or a string buffer both are different class and we use object of them differently, it depends on what we need to do in a problem. Accordingly, we choose whether my function object is going to be, whether I'm going to store that word or a sentence or a paragraph into a string buffer object or a string object. So let's see a few functions of both the classes over here. So I have got name belongs to the string class, and I have stored a word megatute into it, and I'm trying to print the main to it. All right, I'll try to print the length of this. So what I'll do is I'll just say int length equals to name1 dot length. All right, I've changed the variable name as name1. All right, and now I have one more function in string. There are many functions in string class, but I'll give you an example of one more function, char at, all right, which prints a particular character from a particular position from that particular string. So if I say char ch equals to, I'll store into the variable ch the name1 dot char at 5. So it's going to pick the fifth characters from this word and store it into ch. Now, when we talk about the strings or the arrays, the indexing starts from 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you should be at the fifth position. Now I'll try to print it and show you the output. I'll print the content of both the len. I shall say the message also, so I'll come to know that what it is, len, and then I should say caret 5. So it's going to be my ch. Let's run this. I'll compile it. I'll go to main screen and I'll show you the output. Okay. So here it is, length is 8 and caret 5 is 0. Alright. Now let's discuss few more functions of the other class, that's the string buffer class. Let's block this area so that it won't get executed. This won't execute it. So I'll create another string buffer object and use it and show you the output of it. Alright. So what I'll do is I'll create an object here. Let me just erase it completely. This area. So I'll create a string buffer name 1 equals to new string buffer, and I'll pass magnitude to it. So technically I'm storing into a memory location with to which the name1 object is pointing, or in a layman's language I'm storing magnitude into the memory location of name1. Now I'll try to use the append function, which we have done in the example a few minutes before. So I'll say name1 dot append and online. So I'm trying to add the word online at the end of the object name1. At the same memory location, I'll add one more word into it, and then I'll try to print it, or I'm printing it. So here is my printing statement. I'll print the name 1. Okay, guys. So here I run it. Compiles. Go to the main screen and show the output. So when I see the output into the output terminal, I'll see that this time it gives me magnitude online completely. So that means the string buffer objects are muted. You can change it. You can make changes at the same memory location, and then if you print it, you will see the changed content at that memory location. All right, guys. So here in this video, we have discussed how to handle the character array or a group of letters or a sentence or a paragraph, either using a string class object or a string buffer class object. Now, why do we use a string class or a string buffer object? It depends on the problem and what kind of function you want to involve into your problem, and then accordingly you decide which class object you're going to use. And we would be discussing the different library functions which are useful while we code certain problems. That we'll do in another video of library function or string handling. I'll call it string handling. So right now we'll end this video here, and thank you very much for watching the video, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel so far. Press the bell icon so that you get a notification as soon as I release a new video. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Bye bye, take care. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe it. Also press the bell notification so that you get notification as soon as I release a new video. Share and like the video.